So basically, as what we mentioned in group, our plan is to discuss on two topics, which are cash flow estimation for chapter 6 and another one is chapter 7, capital budget and so yeah.
Okay guys, basically in this topic, after we study this topic, we will be able to, first one, we explain a reason for capital expenditure. The second one, we are able to discuss the relevant and irrelevant of cash flow and also the major components. And the last one is we will be able to prepare cash flow estimation of two types of decision, which are expansion and also replacement.
Alright, which is first the reasons for capital expenditure. So what we will focus on is first expansion, second one is replacement. So basically in expansion is like it's the most important motive for capital expenditure. So this is somehow to expand the level of operating output.
Yes.
So usually what the company do to expand is by acquiring new asset. So expansion may involve decisions in increasing the output of existing products, and then sometimes we produce a new product or entering a new market. Under replacement, but then the company should compare between the what they will incur for the repayment and also what they will incur for the replacement for that equipment. So let's say if the repayment need high cost, then buy a new one, so it's better to replace than just to repair. Okay.
I think in the replacement, there's two decisions involved. The first one is whether we want to replace the asset, or the second one is whether we want to purchase equipment that will require a change in the production process.
So it's either replacing the single equipment or purchasing new one?
Yeah, I think it's about that.
But we will respect the production process, the cycle
Of the
production.
Next, we will be proceeding with the relevant and irrelevant cash flow. So, relevant cash flow are being considered as a component which are considered as cash flow are more into cash item, and likewise the irrelevant cash flow are considered as non-cash item. So, therefore, we have recognized that there are some components that we classify as the irrelevant
I
cash flow.
thought relevant and irrelevant both are cash flow,
Yeah.
but then it's either we include that in our calculation or not. Is it?
I think so.
Is it?
Therefore,
relevant is what we include, irrelevant is what we exclude. Okay,
So, what is the example of irrelevant cash flow? What are the components?
relevant cash flow. So, the component that we classify that relevant could be the opportunity cost, and the irrelevant could be the sunk cost, or interest expense. Therefore, that's what I've known as
Meaning of sunk cost?
sunk cost. So, sunk costs are costs that have been incurred and cannot be recovered, irrespective of the decision whether to accept or to reject the project. Hence, are irrelevant to the decision process. So, however, if you want to know about opportunity cost as well, which are cash flow that could be realized from the best alternative use of the asset, is irrelevant.
Now we are going to discuss about the component that should have in the cash flow. They have three components. The first one is the initial investment, and where you invest.
It's basically how the money that you need to invest when you want to start a business, and most of the activities involve outflow of the cash.
Okay.
So the second one would be the
Operating cash flow, which can be cost and expense.
cost and expense throughout the period. It can be both outflow and also inflows to the company. So the third one is
Terminal cash flow.
terminal cash flow is the last period for the cash flow, and this is maybe the time for the company to recover their net working capital, or they want to dispose their asset, they will get the money. So this is the terminal cash flow, the end cash flow for,
Which is an inflow for the company.
yeah, it will basically require inflow to the company. The company will get money from this terminal cash flow.
So how I've heard about conventional and non-conventional cash flow. What is it actually is about?
I do know about that. Actually, for conventional, it involves outflow at the very beginning. But then after that, they're expecting inflow, just inflow, meaning at the beginning outflow and then inflow till the end. But for non-conventional, at the very beginning it also involves outflow, but then after that there is some inflow, there is some outflow. So that's the difference between.
Now I get it. Thank you.
This is a formula for expansion. So the first one is initial investment. There are two components in the initial investment. The first one is the cost of new equipment, which is basically the outflow for the company because they need to acquire new asset. And the second one is increase in net working capital is current asset minus current liability. So it also outflow to the company. So the second part of this formula is operating cash flow, which has sales, operating costs, after tax increase in profit, depreciation on new equipment, tax saving. So the two components that will included in calculating the net operating cash flow is after tax increase in profit and also the tax saving. So how can we get the after tax increase in profit? So we need to multiply the tax rate with the profit that the companies get, and then you will record the balance here. And so the tax saving is tax rate times with the depreciation, and then you will add these two, after tax increase in profit and also tax saving, to get the net operating cash flow. So the third part is terminal cash flow. So the first component is proceeds from disposal of equipment. The second one is tax effect, and the third one is return on net working capital. Proceeds is the money that the companies get when they want to sell their asset. Tax effect. Tax effect, how to calculate tax effect is the first one we need to know whether the company incurring gain or loss by gain or loss on disposal. So proceeds you need to minus with net book value, and once you get the answer, if the answer is negative it means loss, if the positive it means gain on disposal. And from loss or gain you need to calculate the tax effect. You calculate the tax rate and times with the loss or gain on disposal, and you will get the tax effect. So the last one is return on net working capital, which is basically the recovering of net working capital that you already incurred at the beginning of the cash flow. Afif, can you explain about the formula for replacement?
Yeah, I will explain about replacement, but see, I will compare the replacement analysis with the expansion analysis as well. First of all, just now have been mentioned by Ungku that this is the table that shown how to calculate through expansion method, which is considered cost and cost without the MV of the old equipment and tax effect and depreciation. But by using the replacement, we have seen that these components have been taken into this method. For example, market value of the old equipment, tax effect of the old equipment, and for example the depreciation on the old equipment as well, and the changes in depreciation based on this old equipment as well. Therefore we can see that actually through replacement they are incurring the previous the old asset into their calculation. For example, in initial investment, when we are making replacement for old asset, we will incur as well their market value. For example, the market value itself we can see through the year 0 as well. When it is in initial investment, the cost of new equipment will be will be outflow, and the market value of the old equipment and the tax effect will be in inflow and cash inflow.
The calculation for the tax effect is the same as expansion just now, right?
It's not actually, because there's no through expansion there's no calculation
oh my
for
God.
tax effect. it's only be counted at the end during the terminal cash flow actually.
Okay. Now I understand.
Okay.
So
You have misunderstood because for the initial investment actually, we just counted the tax effect of the old equipment, but the tax effect just now that have been mentioned by you in the terminal cash flow is for the new equipment.
So I mentioned just now is the tax effect for the terminal cash flow.
Yes. Terminal cash flow which is directly for the new asset.
In initial investment
Yes,
for expansion,
yes.
but it is included for replacement
Yes.
in the initial investment.
Yes.
Okay.
For the operating cash flow is the same that what you have mentioned before, but we need to add up another thing which is the depreciation of old equipment due to our replacement of the old equipment. And for the terminal cash flow, we need to add up another component which is the net salvage value, which is the carrying amount have been left by the old equipment.
So the other component is still the same as expansion.
Yes, but replacement occupy all overall method rather than expansion. I would say that the expansion is subset to the replacement method.
I see. Means the replacement they cover all the component,
Yes.
but not in expansion.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay guys, can we proceed?
Yes.
Okay, first of all, to understand this topic, we have to know the form. Make sure we have to know the form. The first one, we have to know all the techniques about. Then we can proceed to the second one is to use the techniques and know about all the calculations. Okay, the third one, how to make decision using the techniques. Okay, and for the last one, the advantage and disadvantages of the 5 techniques.
First technique is about payback period. So payback period is actually to measure how long a firm takes to recover the initial investment. So for example, there's 2 projects to be chosen. For example, project A is taking about 2 years time to 2 years to finish the project, and project B is taking 3 years to finish the project. Therefore, if the company is taking
The maximum acceptable period, right?
the maximum acceptable period, for example, they stated at 2 years. Therefore, the company will take the first project due to match with the
Companies
Precisely
policy.
in that period lah.
They cannot exceed the maximum period that they already stated.
You are
Okay.
right. So we can find that there are advantage and disadvantage within this method actually. First of all, about the advantages, it is actually easy to be understand because we can know that either which one is shorter, because the shorter is better actually due to this method. And then for this advantage that about this method is they are ignoring the time value of money, because we just consider about the years, number of years, without considering about the cash flow, the inflow and cash flow.
One more thing about the disadvantage is only consider the cash flow up until the payback period.
Yes.
So they ignore after that. So that's it.
Now I will explain about the discounted payback period. Discounted payback period is basically basically the same as payback period just now, but it takes into account the time value of money. The maximum acceptable discounted payback period also determined by the company. For example, if the company has agreed that the maximum acceptable discounted payback period is 2 years for the company, which means that the company cannot accept any other project that the discounted payback period is more than 2 years. And the advantage of this technique is it takes account the value of money, and the disadvantage is it ignores the cash flow.
I've seen that disadvantage, whereas they are biased on long-term project.
Yes. Because usually the company will proceed with the project that will give faster recovery.
NPV, how we derive, how we calculate it by we take the present value of after tax inflow and then we minus the present value of after tax outflow. So that's the big picture of it. So it somehow consider the time value of money And then, let's say for independent project, if the MPV is greater than RM0, then we accept. But then, if less than RM0, you have to reject the project.
It means like if the company has positive NPV, they will
That
proceed
one
with the
is
project.
for mutually exclusive project. For mutually exclusive, you have to choose which one is higher positive MPV. But then still like what you said, if negative, you reject. If positive, you accept.
So for mutual, you choose which one is give the
Higher.
higher MPV.
But then if let's say you have negative and positive, obviously you choose
choose
the
positive one.
For the IRR, which is known as internal rate of return, basically it is used to evaluate the attractiveness of a project or investment. Okay, then the decision depends. For independent project, we have to accept the project if the IRR is greater than the cost of capital. Meanwhile, if the IRR is less than the cost of capital, we have to reject the project. Okay, that's for independent projects. So for the mutually exclusive project, we have to choose either one which has the highest IRR.
I would like to add, actually IRR is when the present value of inflow is equals to the present value of outflow. So meaning our NPV is equal to 0.
Fifth technique, which is accounting rate of return, ARR. So it is the ratio used in capital budgeting to estimate the accounting return to the average investment made in the project. If the ARR is equal to or greater than the required rate of return, the project is acceptable. So if it is less than desired rate, it should be rejected. So the computation of the ARR is the total net profit over the number of years divided by the average investment. So, but there are several advantages and disadvantages of this technique. The advantage is that it is simple and straightforward to compute. The second one is provide percentage return to be compared with the target return. And the third one is focus on accounting net operating income. So creditors and investors use accounting net operating income to evaluate the performance of management. While the disadvantage of this technique is based on profit rather than cash flow. So it is, as we know that accounting method and finance method is different, and ARR fails to take into account the time value of money.
It also ignores the time value of money, right?
So that's
Meaning
why
the techniques that involve time value of money is only
Discounted payback period and
NPV.
yes.
Only the two.
IRR
IRR.
Also.
IRR, it involves time value money.